I'm the Kaiju no Kami with
Cruellica Kain.
And we are talking about Zenkaiger, episode 12, Birdemic CGI.
It's actually called Slow Snail Hard Shell.
Slow Snail Hard Shell.
Turtle
yes,
power.
But the CGI for those dudes, the SD Gundams, was like
Hutner and Ricky.
Birdemic levels of bad. Like, yes, or the one scene with the grandma, they're like right here. You're not looking at me.
I saw the episode!
They're like right there, but she's looking over there. Yeah, I know, but they're like right there. But
and if you have never seen Birdemic,
be happy.
Be happy. And if you ever do have a desire to see Birdemic,
Riff Tracks.
Yes, only watch the Riff Tracks version, because they at least make it bearable. So, getting kind of back on track to the beginning of the episode, I am once again reminded of how Juron is like the dad of the group. Because he's like all protective over his flock. And basically him and Majine went shopping, and he's kind of complaining about Geyser, especially when these three little children who are quite innocent and impressionable ask about Geyser because they like their ship, they like who the ranger is, and they wanted an autograph. Well, the dad of Zenkaiger comes on a little too strong, and he's like, I can give you an autograph. Kind of like creepy levels of want to have a piece of candy in my van type level.
Hey kids, I got some candy. You want to see it? It's in my van.
And even Majine is like, yeah, you have a problem there. So I kind of thought it was funny because he then, in his overly dramatic flair, goes to the shop, and you first see Kaito turn around.
Well, I love how it's all in this black, darkened style with
Yes.
just lighting for them.
It was like basically like they're in a theater and it was a stage show, and they had dramatic lighting for Kaito, talking about how it's for his family. Go on! Dramatic lighting, talking about because they're humans. And then Vroom, in dramatic lighting, talking about they're from Pyrotopia and the technology. And I'm like, oh my god. I don't know who is more of the drama queen now.
But then Snail World shows up.
Oh.
Which he actually makes me think of Crystal Snail from Mega Man X2 with the way he would shoot out his slow beam. The way it worked.
And basically, as he just said, everything goes slow.
And I love it though when all of a sudden they're like, Juron and Majine were like, I think we have a villain here, but we can't see him because we can't turn around really quickly.
It was hilarious. And then you hear singing coming the Yohohoi, and Juron makes the exact comment you make anytime you hear the singing from him. Is like, oh great, him. And then he flies down like super fast and then gets into the bubble with the snail and like
that was hilarious.
It was like, okay.
And then what was it? And, well, I like though that they're just.
Well, also, no, I think the favorite sentence that Juron said, and I'm paraphrasing, is like, oh, it's that guy, but I'm actually thankful to see him for once. And I'm like, wow. Dick answer. Something Kaiju would say.
Not true.
Oh, yeah.
Nope,
right.
it's not true.
Really?
Okay, maybe a little.
I think like a lot.
No, a little. Just a little. Maybe.
Sorry, hubby, but you're an asshole.
I'm surrounded by assholes. But then we have so I love though how then when Snail World hits Juron and as he's falling, he's just like
Well, and he does the same thing to Kaiser as
All
well.
I wanted to do, though, was put the Inception music. Boom, boom,
And then,
boom, boom.
oh god, now I'm going to picture Leonardo DiCaprio and Christopher Nolan.
Or you could have it like in a Zack Snyder movie at the slow downs, like.
Oh, like in 300 or something like that.
300 or his Snyder cut of Justice League.
We're not going there. Nevertheless, moving on. So, Kaito, Room, and Gaon
Show up.
they start running towards it, and all you hear is, stop! And Kaito looks up, he's like, was that Flint?
But yeah, so then the Snail World leaves. But I love though, Snail World leaves to go do something else, and then Barashita's like, "Hey, how are things going? Oh, good. I've got 3 Zenkaiger's trapped in my slow-mo. Oh, and you just left him there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine. Like,
and Barashitara's like, this is the perfect time to go destroy them, and I'm like, wow, okay. James Bond villain.
Hey, Dad, I've got a gun in my room. How about I go up and get my gun and we could shoot them together? No, I'm just going to believe that everything went according to plan and that they are now dead.
Oh my god. Yeah.
But no, I can go.
No. We are not going to reference everything about Austin Powers here. Or James Bond. But nevertheless...
So
No, I think it was funny because Barashitara has one of the Kudaites standing next to him with a megaphone. And he keeps on forgetting to give him the stuff to talk to Snailtopia. I'm like, oh my god.
And then when he actually says says something about giving the boss like bad oil pressure, and he's like, oh wait, I didn't want to say that.
So Barashitara, A+ today. A+ as a villain. And I actually really enjoyed Snail World because he was kooky. And so we get to the shop. Grandma's making, Sekchan is making this giant pancake. And I forgot, in Japan, pancakes are not dessert. They're not breakfast, they're dessert.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And so Flint starts using the pancakes as paper to start drawing everything. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, and then, so they figure out a plan. They go to help them.
I'm going to let you describe this because you had the exact same reaction.
So they shoot them with... Wait, is Sekchan the grandma or the...
Zekchan. So Z is the bird, S is grandma.
Okay. And then, so they shoot them with the...
Or Zekon.
They shoot them with the Turbo Ranger coins. And they speed up. I'm like, wait a minute. They didn't have super speed powers. And even the bird's like, yeah, Turbo Ranger is blah, blah, blah. Wait, did they even have that type of power?
So... I like how they decided, because their name is Turbo Ranger, that they must. And I kind of took from it like the Peter Pan mentality of or the Rocky Horror mentality. If you believe it, it will happen. I'm like, I've not watched Turbo Ranger because I have him.
Well, you were in that one episode.
Yes, but... just because their name is Turbo does not mean they were Turbo. It's like saying Mega Ranger means that they're mega when they're all about technology.
But, yeah, so we have that. Well, I also like, though, the motions when they were all in slow motion, especially when 2 Kaisers lag. Yeah.
But 2 Kaiser... in this episode, got an A+ for planning when he's going slow-mo. Because apparently Juron even says it looks like he's just doing random dancing. But apparently, as Majine comes to figure out, he's not just randomly flailing his arms as you even envisioned him doing. It's all for a purpose.
All to set up his attack stuff.
Which... is why I still think Two Kaiser is cool.
But then, so they use Turbo Ranger to speed everything up.
Which still makes no sense to me.
Defeats Snail World. Snail World, the giant version, comes in, slows everything down again. I like, though, when they were hitting him and the sword breaks, and Juron's like, "That's my tail!" But...
and then Gowan's claws.
And then we have Stacy comes in with his new mech, Battle Caesar Robo, which even more solidifying that he's based on Battle Fever J, even though I still think he's an Akiba Ranger.
He kind of looks like an Akiba Ranger married to Kamen Rider, and that's what we got. But no, Battle Fever J, it kind of makes sense, and the design of the
mech resembles Battle Fever Robo. The only thing I will say that I'm getting sick of is in their previews for the next episode, they need to stop showing what happens at the end of the episode. Because a few weeks ago, when they showed Two Kaiser, he didn't show up till the end of the episode. Last week's preview for this episode, they showed Battle Caesar Robo. He didn't show up until the end of the episode.
It's kind of like the trailers that you see in movie theaters these days.
They need to stop showing the scenes of the end of the episodes. But then we have Two Kaiser brings in his mech, transforms.
Which is kind of interesting. So it looks like he's going to have two mech forms. One for, obviously, Ricky, and then one for Kuttner. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out.
I did like the Shinkenger bit they did there.
I'm looking forward to seeing how the O-Ranger version looks like, because Shinkenger, it had a lot of the elements of the mech. And so that was pretty cool. And how he transforms is kind of weird. Because, so obviously the ship has like a crocodile mouth. So what the crocodile mouth does is open, eats Kuttner. Kuttner goes in to its body and comes out the top.
Bigger.
Yes. And I'm like, he just ate his brother. That's cannibalistic. But then it's a crocodile, and they're kind of cannibalistic. It's so weird.
But yeah, it comes out, and then we have the transformation, and then a helmet goes, or a regular faceplate goes over.
Well, yeah, because the helmet that you see normally for Kuttner kind of breaks up, and then you see the normal face for the mech.
Yep. And then they had the big Shinken red sword for...
Yes, which... I wasn't sure how I kind of go back and forth on that. Because I like the big Shinken red sword, but I don't know if it goes well with the mech. We totally skipped off of my favorite scene of this episode. So they all do their transformations, and they do the roll call. So the roll call starts with Two Kaiser going all through everyone, as you would normally do in a Sentai. Then they all line up. You have Zenkaiger and then Two Kaiser, and Zenkaiser's like, and the 6 of us, and then Two Kaiser's like, don't count me in the roll call, and you have Juron like, then don't line up, and I'm like...
Yeah, don't line up with us.
And it made no sense, because I'm like, why did he line up? Like, they made this whole epic thing about the whole roll call, and I was like, oh, are they actually going to make it where they're a team now? And then it kind of throws Zenkaiger out, because Kaito is like, well, how do I finish this off now? So they just go right into the battle, because his mojo is out of whack. So I thought that was hilarious, because I had the exact same comment as Juron of like, well then why are you there? I kind of feel like Geyser is that guy who's perpetually like, new phone, who dis? Like, I don't know you. Because even at the end of the episode, when Juron is like, well, why don't we work together? Because your family wants it, and even then, Zox is like, nah, I'm doing this for me and my family, but mainly for me. You don't count. And I'm like, oh my god. This is like the will they, won't they of a romantic comedy. You know how it's going to eventually turn out. But you just have to wait for that slow burn to get past. I do think Stacy was wasted in this episode.
Yeah, again, because they showed so much of his mech last week, it looked like they were going to do something big with it, and he's in there, but then also he's just like, okay, I'm going to go now.
I did like his transformation.
Well, I like that. I just don't get why he...
No, I just meant I like the transformation because it seemed like it was much more stylized this time around than before.
You mean when he, like, it looked like he hit himself?
Yeah, like he actually injects himself with it, and then when you see his eyes, they turn from normal DNA chromosomes to like that machine-like chromosomes. I thought that was kind of cool, like it was an actual literal transformation. So that I really liked, but I kind of felt as though...
It felt like they just took 2 episodes and merged them into one. Because, yeah, Stacy was... They should have just saved that for next week's episode and did that the whole episode. Because, especially when after the battle, he just ups and leaves for no reason.
Well, that's exactly it. I'm like, okay, then what was your point?
And they didn't really show us him fighting.
No, it was basically background fighting, but you barely saw it because you were so focused on Geyser.
Actually, I didn't even notice that they filmed them in the background at all.
But so this was a weaker episode.
It was a fun episode.
It was a fun episode.
Stacy was wasted completely.
What I think it was, I do think this is still a filler episode. However...
Well, except we get new mechs introduced, so...
Yeah, so... I still think of it as a filler type of element, but the monster was cool, the comedic elements of the story were cool, the CGI, when it comes to Kuttner and Ricky...
Is not cutting it?
No, because, I'm sorry, when you had the logo for Zenkaiger coming down when they're doing their attack, that CGI looked fantastic. And then when you pan over to the twins, or not twins, but the brothers, and you're like, okay, whoever is doing the CGI for that needs to work with the CGI team for everything else. Because they are not communicating. And... I started when we...
At this point, I'd rather just have them dangling toys off a string.
That's what they did with Luna in the Sailor Moon cartoon, or Sailor Moon live action. But my thought process is, I first was going to use the argument of it being a kid's show, and I had to stop myself because I'm like, well, that's not fair. Are we saying that kids shows cannot have good quality? Yes and no. Obviously, they're not going to put all their money into a kid's show. I can appreciate that. For CGI. Obviously, if they have other shows, they're going to use their money wisely, so to speak. But at the same time, I also have to look at it as... If you kind of made this comment, and I'm going to take it and run with it a little bit. If you can't afford the CGI...
Don't use it.
Either don't use it or have toys, because I know they have toy versions of both of them. They have proven that. Because obviously you need it just to be able to do the toy sales itself. So why not have toys somewhere or have the sister holding on to them or something?
They just look so out of place.
And... it's not the worst CGI I've seen because obviously Birdemic and Replicant or replica.
And Saber's first episode.
Oh, yes. But...
And the kind of the CGI in Ultraman Tiga.
Anything else? Are you sure? I'm waiting. I know you have other complaints about CGI. You have had complaints about CGI for years.
Well, it doesn't make sense when it's not necessary. It should be used to enhance things, not control it.
Well, I understand that CGI is also used in this day and age as a cost-saving measure.
But is it really that cost-saving? Does it really save that much money? I mean, how much are we talking here? Like 5 cents?
Well, you have to think of time.
But anyway, the other thing with the CGI that I was going to say was... Now I can't think of what I was going to say, so never mind.
What did you think of the episode?
I enjoyed it. Still on some damn story, but I enjoyed it.
We're episode 12, so...
We should be getting some damn story by now.
We have gotten some story.
The only thing I didn't like about this episode was Stacy. Completely wasted.
Yeah, Stacy was wasted.
They should have saved all that for the next episode and had a fully Stacy focused episode instead of a Monster of the Week episode.
Well, yes. And next week's episode, it looks like it's going to be on recycling, which I actually am kind of excited.
But how is that different from the trash one we just had a couple weeks ago? Because they talked about recycling in there.
I don't know, but all I know is they had peacock well, not just peacock, but they had a whole bunch of bird feathers. It looked all ritzy. It looked all flamboyant. I am excited.
Oh, I know what it was about the CGI. I was going to say, besides not having the budget to do it, it's also clearly rushed. Like they're just rushing, like basically saying, okay, that's good enough, and getting it out there.
Well, yes, and that kind of reminds me of like Dragon Ball
Supers.
When they did their early episode for animation, and I know it's a totally different thing, but still, it makes you wonder, okay, how much time do the effects team have after production to do their elements?
Or that Berserk CGI anime.
Because I understand all of the elements that you see, they're done after the main filming. So, depending on what they do, you either have dead air next to the actors that have to interact with the, so to speak, the CGI items, or they'll have like little balls or something to designate this is where you should be looking.
Which is weird, because if you're going to do that, you might as well just do toys.
I agree. But I think we're going to have to be like Elsa a little bit and just let it go.
But yeah, I enjoyed the episode overall, except for the Stacy stuff. He should have been saved for next week.
No, it was good. It was really funny. I think the funny parts really had to do a lot with Geyser.
The roll call, but then also the Snail World getting chewed out for not attacking the Zenkaigers when he had them locked in.
So I think if you want to watch it after listening to us basically tell you the entire episode, definitely take a look out for it because it's well worth it.
Or they're watching this after they've watched the episode.
Oh, yeah.
Which is hopefully what they do, is they watch the episode, then watch our commentary on it.
And if you've watched the episode, let us know any feedback of what you thought about it. I am always down for hearing other people's opinions of what's going on with what their opinion of the series. I can't speak, apparently.
So, click like, subscribe, bell notification, whatever else YouTube has you clicking on to support us. You can support me on Patreon at Kaiju no Kami, Facebook Kaiju no Kami, Instagram Kaiju no Kami, Twitter Kaiju no Kami, my website Creativity by Design LLC.com. And did I miss anything? I don't remember now if I missed anything.
No, but please do comment and definitely like and subscribe if you want to see more. And as always, if you have any suggestions of what you want us to do next, throw it into the comments. We can't promise anything, but as you know, he always reads the comments and comments.
Hey, I want them to at least know that I've actually read their comment, even if it's just a smiley face or something.
Which I think is sweet.
Oh, whatever. And that's pretty much it. So,
Bye!
awkward silence. Bye.
Awkward silence.